Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cookiecast. Today on Cookiecast, it's the Darkest Timeline podcast. Join me and myself as we discuss, all sorts of stuff. Things that I am annoyed about, probably, and games, movies, things like that. So yeah, here we go. This is the Cookiecast, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Hello and welcome. I am your friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man. That's not true. Reminds me of my... Is it a meme if it's just a picture with words? Is that a meme? Shows them at my age. My favourite, let's go with meme of recent times, is the picture of the couple in bed and he's facing away from the woman and she's looking at him and they've both got thought bubbles. And her thought bubble is, I bet he's thinking about other women. And his thought bubble is, Batman is one word. Superman is one word. Why is Spider-Man hyphenated? Makes me chuckle. So, here we go. Episode 3, I believe. The Darkest Timeline podcast. I'm your host, Cookie. And I'm joined today by a special guest, bottle of water. Yep, that's pretty much it. I can't see portable hard drive. Portable hard drive is my special guest. I've come in the room to do the recording. Pretty sure there's a fairly major spider situation in this room. I've seen it previously. I nearly had to interrupt a previous podcast to tell James Panas that he was about to be attacked by a monster spider. Monster's probably not the right word. You know those ones that are like super spindly legs, which make them really big, but then they're sort of tiny at the same time. So yeah, I'm sure I'll see that partway through this podcast and then you'll hear me running around. Definitely not screaming like a girl. And I've come in the room and it was super warm in here, so I've opened the window so you get to listen to the birds tweeting, and if I'd have started the podcast 2 minutes ago, a motorbike. So there's that. So here we go. This week I'm going to my list, people. Jumping on the list. So I've been having this conversation recently about doing this podcast and saying that my biggest fear and one of the things that put me off most doing it was not having anything to say. Not having content, I suppose. So I was like, well, I had enough to do one, so I did that. And then a week later, I managed to materialise enough to do another podcast. This week, I was like, oh my God, I haven't got anything to say, I haven't got nothing to talk about, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then yesterday, in some flash of, I'd like to say brilliance, but I just wrote like a long list of stuff that I'd sort of wanted to talk about over the week, and that became my list. I've added to it today. So, let's get cracking. Number 1. I'm not going to number them, I'm just going to talk about them. In the last 2 months, I've had a bad back 4 times. That's probably not a good sign. It concerns me because my sister, big shout out to Laura Hayden, she had to have back surgery a little while ago due to a slip. She had a slip in the shower a couple of years, 2 or 3 years ago now. Obviously not intentional, not her fault. It was there was a long story involved. Nothing to do with her. She slipped in the shower, hurt her back. That went on for a long time to the point that she had to have an operation. And that was that. Bad back operation. So, anytime I have back issues, my mind immediately flashes back to that. Because it was quite a major thing. It's a major operation. So, that's like I've hurt my back. something that I've spoken to Luke about recently. Big shout out to Luke. But I think me and him have a similar thing, which is like our backs can just go in a second. Oh, I blinked and my back hurts. And that's been the theme of these back issues recently. To be fair, the first one, which was a major one, like a super major one, I did it in the gym, and I probably made it worse by not stopping when it started. So like, oh no, it's fine, I can do another set. It wasn't fine. I was out of action for like well over a week. I went to work on the Monday and ended up having to come home and work from home for the rest of the day because I was just in agony. Couldn't sit at my desk, stuff like that. Since then, I've had things like, I got out of the shower and I was getting dry and I hurt my back, like my shoulder went. Saturday, I put something in the boot of the car. I put a bag in the boot of the car. My back just went, just was like, I'm out. And that was me for the weekend. It still hurts now, but I'm a bit more mobile. But I was just in pain and my back hurt. And I'm like, is this an age thing? And I was talking about it and I was saying, at the end of the day, for example, if I went to the doctor and I said to the doctor, I keep getting bad back. Anybody want to guess what the first thing that doctor's going to say? Do you suppose it's going to be, well, Mr. Cook, you should probably lose some weight then, you fat fuck. So, yeah, but is it age? 4 bad backs in 2 months? Or is it weight? I'm probably going to say it's probably a mixture of both. So, yeah, on the weight front, I'm going to go to my second to last point, which is still haven't been to the gym. Which obviously isn't great. What I can say is that there's been a couple of occasions, sort of 3 occasions at this point, where I've been a bit like, oh, I had the opportunity to go to the gym and I didn't go. And that makes me feel bad. Go back 2 months and that would have never happened because I'd have never got to that point. So I was talking to Thomas Quinn, big shout out to Thomas Quinn, and saying that it's kind of a good thing that I've had that feeling of I should have gone to the gym. Not great that I didn't go. However, Leanne was saying that she's got a place for the York 10K. And we were talking about that, and I was saying like maybe just doing cardio, like no weights, just do some cardio, get the cardio going, and try and shift some of this weight, and then try and do something from there. But yeah, don't feel super great about not going to the gym. Obviously, I can change that quite easily by going to the gym. But I feel, if I'm honest, it would impact on my chocolate eating. So yeah, saying that out loud, yeah, that don't feel good either. So, moving swiftly on, I want to talk about indicating people. I've been thinking about this last sort of day or so. It's like, if somebody was to describe this podcast to somebody else, they'd go, yeah, it's a guy who talks about people's bad driving and other stuff. I hope they'd give more of an example, you know. People's bad driving, games, movies, stand-up comedy, things like that. So, I think I've mentioned it before. I think I mentioned it on multiple podcasts. It is a pet peeve of mine. Bad driving. And I've tried to explain it to people, and the way I sort of describe it is, I think because I learned to drive so late in life, and because I don't test well, I can do stuff, learn things, all of that. If I go into a test environment, I am useless. So I went to do my theory test and was like, I'm not going to be able to do it because I'll just panic. And did the road awareness thing, the videos. Got the first one wrong because I was clicking too much. I was like, well, there was a lot of danger. And I was 100% convinced I'd failed that test. To the point that I couldn't read the word when they gave me the thing that said I'd passed. So that was like a big thing for me. Past that first time was just blown away. You know, stuff like that doesn't happen to me because I don't test well. And as far as I was concerned, I had failed that many times over. So, and then like 3 weeks later, I was doing my practical. So I was like, okay. So the 2 weeks before that, I was sort of learning that confidence is a big part of driving, and confidence is a big part of passing your test. I've spoken to people who have been coming up to doing their tests since I passed mine, and I've said to them, just, you have to convince that person who is, it's not a driving instructor, a test person, that you know how to do it. You are a confident driver and you are not a danger on the road, because that is what they're trying to find out. And I've heard stories about test people saying, oh, well, actually, you'd failed the test at this point, but by the end, you did so well that you've actually passed. So I went out, and again, there was points, I remember like major parts of my driving test, and other parts I just don't remember at all. I say to people that I'm pretty sure I passed that test by doing a 3-point turn, or a turn in the road as I think it's called now, and I'd nearly done it in 2. The third one was just the icing on the cake. It was beautiful. So, you know, I remember doing that. I now know that I didn't go fast enough. I turned onto a 60 and didn't know it was a 60, and no signs told me it was a 60. I'd ended up not going fast enough, which I know other people have failed tests on. So I don't know whether I was lucky there or what. There's the bit where the test person gives you a load of instructions and you have to follow their instructions, but at first you have to repeat them back to them. And I couldn't get, the guy just kept repeating them to me, and I just couldn't get them. Got back to the place, and the guy's like, do you want your instructor here when I tell you? I was like, yeah, you know, you might as well. 100% convinced I'd failed. Was literally just like, right, when can I get back in to do this again? It's like, my instructor came over and he was like, right, well, I'm pleased to tell you you've passed. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And again, I've never felt a feeling like that, because I don't test well. You know, I put the work in, I put the time in, but I say to people the roads were kind to me that day. It could have gone a different way. I think that's the way driving tests go. You can either pass or fail on the day just by circumstance. So I generally feel quite fortunate that I passed my theory test and I passed my practical test both first time. I know people who had to do it multiple times. I know other people that passed first time. And it was a big thing for me. It was a huge thing. And I put the time in and I put the work in. And I go out there now, and one of my most favourite things is to drive. I really do wish I'd learnt to drive sooner. It's one of those things that I kind of regret now. So I generally try to stick to the rules of the road. I was having a conversation, I think it was on this podcast previously, about, you know, sometimes you have to go a little bit quicker to get round somebody. But that's in the interest of safety, and especially now that they've brought laws in around the fact that going too slow is a punishable driving offence. So, you know, for me, if you're going around a corner, indicate. I think I indicate too much. I know that there's certain roundabouts that you don't have to indicate when you're coming off. If you're going like straight over a roundabout, I'll indicate, because my point is, hey, people need to know. So maybe I indicate too much. But there does seem to be this new influx of people just not indicating at all. So my example is, I followed a car. I think I was going to work the other morning, and car was in front of me on the bypass heading out towards work, and this car just kept changing lanes. Now, admittedly, there was nothing directly behind, because it was me that was behind, and I was 20 yards away, maybe a bit less, 10 yards away or something. But this car just kept changing lane, kept changing lane, kept changing lane, and at no point did it indicate. So went round on to go down and round a roundabout. Went round the roundabout, didn't need to indicate for that, that's fine. Got to the next roundabout, and it was a case of, right, okay, so turning off here, which way you're going? Oh, you're not going to tell us which way you're going? This is a major roundabout. You're not going to tell us which way you're going. I will say at this point in time, this was not a Mercedes, an Audi, a BMW or anything like this. It was one of them, like a big car, like a 4x4 type thing, but not my three heavy hitters. So this is like, really? This is the thing that we do now? Car went off the roundabout. Oh, you're going the same way I'm going. Right. Now then, here's the real kicker. When you come to the next roundabout, you've got the options of going straight over, second off, third off, or presumably back the way you came, which I don't know why you would if you'd gone all the way unless you'd gone wrong. So the car set out into the roundabout. No indicators. So at this point in time, you can only be turning one of two directions in theory. Straight over, second, because technically second is still straight over. You can't be turning off the third turning because you're not indicating. Now I'm panicking, and maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, so we set out, that car sets off, I set off. Past the first turning, no. Past the second turning, no. I'm like, you're going to give us a clue on this one? Oh, you're going off the third turning. I know this because you turned down the third turning. At no point did you indicate right to say you were going all the way around the roundabout. And at no point did you indicate left to say you were coming off the roundabout. At this point in time, it is literally a situation of, what the fuck? It's guesswork? Is this where we're at in the world of driving now? Because this is a prime example, but this isn't the only example. This is the newest thing on the road. Fuck indicating. Let's just let people guess. And then we hear, oh, there was a crash on the motorway. There was a crash, and that it was really bad, and there was more than one car was involved, and it's terrible. It's a terrible thing. Is it a terrible thing if that person hasn't? I mean, I'm not saying it's not a terrible thing. What I'm saying is, could it have been avoided? Was that person using all the rules of the road? Was that person indicating when they were supposed to? I honestly do not understand when you get behind the wheel of a vehicle that weighs a ton. When I was younger, cars used to weigh like 2 tons. They were made of different material, and they are death machines. And I understand that we now have these big flash posh cars that have got all of the safety features so that you are not going to die when you plough into somebody or whatever. So is that where we're at? Fuck everyone, I'm going to drive how I want it, and if I have an accident, at least I'll walk away from it. Is that where we are? Because, honestly, I mean, whatever. So, that's my rant about indicating. It's this new craze is to fuck indicate, and nobody indicates anymore. And I'm sure the number of road traffic accidents has definitely gone down because of it. So there. That's my rant about indicating over. Let's see. So, I watched Teen Titans Go to the Movies. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's all I can really say about that. One thing I will say is that I'd heard that it got terrible reviews. As everything seems to get these days, terrible reviews, and then you watch it or you play it or you interact with it and you go, no idea how that got better reviews. I don't know if people looked at it from a child's perspective, because I was watching it like, this is not a children's film. The adult jokes that were in that film were off the charts. I was just laughing all the way through it. So, if you've ever been a Teen Titans fan, I used to watch the other version of Teen Titans, but this is Teen Titans Go. It's like the one for the kids. It's got no fighting in, just them being silly, I guess. But this was like a proper legit movie. You know, they had a story and a bad guy, and Nicolas Cage was the voice of Superman, which is deep cuts. If anybody knows the story of Superman Returns. Will Arnett did a voice. He was Slade. Yeah, so super fun. Sit down, if you've got kids, sit down and watch it with your kids. If you have ever been a Teen Titans fan, or if you just want something silly to sit and laugh at and you like an animated movie. Loads of people have said to me recently, don't like animated things. It's like, okay, if that's a thing, that's a thing. So yeah, my movie recommendation for the week, Teen Titans Goes to the Movies. I picked it up cheap from Amazon on Blu-ray. So yeah, check that out if that's your sort of thing. So, stand-up recommendation of the week. I watched Wanda Sykes has got a new stand-up on Netflix, and I was like, oh, is this... I generally like to do I'll watch the trailer. If I smirk in the trailer, then I'll give it a whirl. Can't say further than that. You know, it's I'll watch the first episode principle. So the trailer, you know what Netflix is like. It plays like like a 15-second clip of whatever, as long as you stay on that box for long enough. So I did that. It played the 15 seconds, and not only did I smirk, I think I had a little laugh in the time that clip was playing. So I was like, I'll give this a whirl. Shortest version is, she sums it up right at the start. She's like, if you voted for Trump and you've come to see me, this is the second mistake you've made. There's loads of political jokes, loads of Trump. She's not, as most people, and she's not a fan of Trump, but makes it funny. Even somebody who's British and doesn't really do time to sound stupid, doesn't really do the politics, certainly not American politics. Even I found it funny, so it must sort of transcend barriers, I guess. Super fun, super funny, really enjoyable. So I would sort of say stand-up recommendation for the week is Wanda Sykes' latest special. So yeah, that's fun. She talks about all sorts of stuff. It's not just the politics. It turns into more of your standard comedy special further in, because like the first third, I would say, is just her going on and on and on about Trump, but not in a bad way. Not like on and on, like dragging on. Just tearing strips into him. So yeah, that was amusing. I enjoyed that. I will probably watch it again, which to me is a sign of a good stand-up. Also, for the first time, I watched Christina P. Christina P is female stand-up comedian. It seems to be a week of the female stand-up comedians, which is not something I generally go for, but I'm prepared to give all stand-up comedians a chance. So, Christina P, I've watched her before on... There's another Netflix thing that's got... Each episode's like a different comedian. I can't think what it is. Joey Diaz and a load of other comedians each get an episode, and Christina P had an episode. Christina P is Tom Segura's wife. They do a podcast together called Your Mum's House. It's very popular from what I'm aware. And yeah, they're both of them stand-up comedians. They both do that for a living. Both quite successful by the looks of things, which is cool. So yeah, Christina P. I don't know if it had a name. Oh no, it did have a name. It was a clever play on like a phrase. Something woman. I could look it up now, but it might take a little while. Although I haven't said that. Let me have a look. So yeah, it's been another one of those where I was like, oh, maybe I won't be able to talk about any stand-up because maybe I won't have watched any. And then I've watched like back-to-back stand-up all in one go. I watched that Wanda Sykes one. And then I watched... oh, actually, I've got it here. I can tell you what the... I can't tell you what it is because it started doing the trailer thing. So I can't tell you what the Wanda Sykes one is called. But let's look for... Chris... Oh, Jesus. Christina... Mother Inferior. Ha! Because this will be done after she had... Not straight after, but yeah, she's had the baby. Her and Tom Score's baby. So yeah, Mother Inferior. Very good, very enjoyable. It was one of those that watching it, having been in a similar situation to what she was talking about, just, you know, comedians do talk about what they know and then make it funny, and then it's funny if you can understand where they're coming from. So that was fun. I enjoyed that. So 2 recommendations there: Wanda Sykes' stand-up, Christina P's stand-up special. Did have one other thing to say, and this is a bit. I don't know how this will come across, but I'm going to say it anyway and just see. Like I say, was going through a lot of stand-up, watching this, watching that, watching that. I always have this thing that Leanne doesn't do stand-up. She, you know, there's been the odd comedian here and there that she will tolerate. There's the odd one here and there that she likes, but she's not like me. She doesn't sit and watch stand-up. So I was like, oh, put this on, put that on, put the other on. Needed something on so that I could just have on. So I was like, I put the previously mentioned on this podcast, the Anthony Jeselnik. The first one, the Thoughts and Prayers. That's the first one. So I put that on. And shortly after it started, I looked across and Leanne was laughing. And I was like, what? And then a bit later, she laughed again. And I was like, what? I was like, what's going on here? You don't find stuff like this funny. She was like, oh, he's funny. It's like, but it's really dark comedy and it's really dark humour. Yeah, I know, I just think he's funny. It's like, okay. So, watched a bit more. She laughed a bit more. There's a couple of jokes that were a bit, you know, anything like a dead baby joke generally doesn't go down too well with most people. But she sort of laughed all the way through that special, and I'm like, whoa. So, you know, as we do, you start talking. I was like, you don't like stuff like this? He's funny. Oh, he's quite charismatic. Oh, you could believe that he was a serial killer because he's just done a serial killer joke. And I'm like, okay. Oh, he's funny. Oh, that made me laugh and all this. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God. She's got like... So we worked out that she's got like a dark sense of humour. But now I'm properly like, oh my God, all this time I've been like, she just doesn't get stuff. She just doesn't get comedy. She doesn't find stuff like that funny. But no, turns out she's got a dark sense of humour. And now I'm a bit like, am I living with a serial killer? Not for any reason other than that she suddenly decided that she finds really dark humour funny. But yeah, it's proper thrown me, because this has been for years. I'm like, you don't get stand-up, you don't enjoy it. Like, I've never seen a stonier face than when I've been watching stand-up with her. Next thing, she loves dark humour. So, yeah, probably be sleeping with one eye open for a little while. That's possibly a thing. Anyway, right then. Oh man, phone locks. Then you have to go back in. Let's talk video games, people. Let's talk The Division 2. Not too much, just a little bit to keep you in the loop. So, the moment I'd been waiting for finally happened. Saturday night. No, I'm lying. Friday night. Settle in. A little bit of Division 2 time. Oh yeah, here we go. Played it for a little while. Bit of levelling up. Nice. Got some new weapons. New armour. Loving it. Everything's great. Everything's funky. Went to do a mission. Oh. And I died. Oh, okay. Well, you know. Can't win them all. Can't always be winning. Went back. Let's do this mission again. And I died. Okay. Well, let's give it another go. Maybe we're doing it wrong. Let's give it another try. And I died instantly. Was like, what the fuck is going on here? Now, one thing I will say is recently there's been an update to The Division 2, which has made the game super buggy. Like, there was a point I was playing it and I'm like, this is unplayable. Lag, sound missing. Like if you switch to, like I have a machine gun and a shotgun. If you switch from the machine gun to the shotgun and then fire the shotgun, you can't hear it. It doesn't make any sound. A couple of minutes later, oh, was that the shotgun that I fired a while ago? Oh, because it's just made the sound now. That's cool. The popping of like textures and actual walls and things, that's even worse than it was. Like I said, there was a point where I was like, this game is actually becoming unplayable because of the latest update, which is super fun. So, tried to do that mission multiple times Friday night, and in the end I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I've been waiting for. You've turned on me, you've had an update, now the game's too difficult because I've leveled up, because all you want is for me to play with other people so that I can look at their gear and go, that guy's got a better gun than me, I need to buy a gun. Oh my god, I've got to get that gun. Oh, but you can't get it in the game, you've got to pay money for it. Oh man, I'd best give you some money then. Was what I thought. Turned it off in the end. Was like, fuck this shit, fuck you The Division, fuck you Ubisoft, suck my balls. Saturday night, like, right, let's try this again. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try the Division 2 again. Give her a whirl. See how far I get. Try that mission again. If it all goes tits up, then I will take this game and trade it in and get Rage 2. That was the plan. Put the game on. Didn't go straight to do that mission. Went to do a different mission straight off the bat. Did that. Sorted, no problem. I'm like, right, well, I'm in the area. Let's see how this mission goes. Go to do the mission that I failed multiple times on Friday night and walked it. Completely different to how it was Friday night. Like on the Friday night, there was like 3 of these guys that like run at you with batons and they just beat you until you die. And then there was like a remote control car with like razor saw blade things on that would attack me, and then people shooting me from a distance. It was impossible. Saturday night, there's like 6 guys all at a distance, killed them. Then a heavy armoured dude turned up, killed him. By this point, the backup that I'd called at the start of doing it, they turned up. They sort of like did crowd control. And then what happens is once you've cleared the area, then you have to defend the area. So I did that, and then it's like, you're done. Good man. It's like, oh. So I've played it a little bit since then. Still going. Again, I'm not going to ruin it for myself by going, this game is X, this game is Y. All I'll say is I'm level 23 of 30. I will keep playing until it either stops me from playing, like when I played the first one, I got to level 27, couldn't get any further, or I maxed out the level and do all the missions. Until that happens, I won't give a review, I won't give a score, anything like that. But if in a week's time when I'm sitting to do the podcast again and I haven't finished it, I'll give you a bit more of an update. As a side note, last night coded a podcast. thing about coding podcast is the tool that I use for like video coding and stuff is free, which is super cool. I always set out to do the podcast on as low budget as possible, so free stuff is super awesome. So yeah, it's cool. But it recently had an update which changed a lot of the stuff, so I had to relearn how to use some bits. That's fine, because that was okay, it only took me a little while. But since then, it codes podcasts in like half the time. This one was only an hour and 5 minutes long, so when I set it off coding, it was like, oh, I'm only going to take like 25 minutes. I was like, I can probably kill that time, sit here at the computer and do some stuff, and then, once it's coded, set it off uploading, go to bed. So I was milling around on YouTube, doing what I do on YouTube, which is generally watching videos about... Lately, it's like, it ranges from like computer games to wrestling to beard care to knife making to bad driving videos, and everything in between. So there was this thing, basically, the Division 2 is on an update, and their first raid has come out, and people are not happy. Apparently it's too difficult. There's this guy that's really hard to kill, and everybody's going mental. But then there were other videos saying, oh, we've completed it, and we did it in 7 minutes. So I was like, okay, well, let's have a look and see what raids are about. Holy fucking shitballs. It was like my definition of hell. It was like... It felt like 30 guys all just shouting down microphones, telling everybody that they're doing it wrong, telling people that they should be elsewhere, using like lingo and just, you're doing it, you should be doing this, everybody goes over there, you go here, what are you doing, you should be on the turret, shoot the guy in the chest, oh he's going down, oh let's all shoot, oh my god, hey by the way, I'm down, like this for 7 minutes. And I'm like, well, there's something that I'll never do with my time, because by the looks of it, you need a massive group of people. I'm not kidding when I say that it felt that there was like 30 people playing it. And yeah, just that to me is what the definition of the death of games. Once they started making multiplayer games and just trying to rinse every single penny they can out of a game, that was the death of games. And that to me is what is wrong with games these days. And I know I am well and truly in a minority. I know that, your Call of Duties, your Battlefields, I've been doing a lot of research on the new Ghost Recon that's coming out, Breakpoint, and it's full of, oh, there'll be this raid and you'll have to pick this category. And it's like, all right, so you've taken everything that was good about Wildlands, which is hands down one of the best games ever made, and just turned it into, here's how we're going to make money out of it. Wonderful. Sounds great. So yeah, watched a raid video for the Division 2. Literally, as I say, my idea of hell. But I'm old. I'm an old gamer, Games to me was playing Street Fighter 2 with your mates on a Super Nintendo where you had a controller each and you were sat in the same room together. Jesus, can you imagine that now? Oh, I've got another game, but it's not a console game. Mobile game. Lemmings. Anybody that is as similar age to me right now is like, Lemmings, yes. Anybody, I imagine, younger is like, I'm sorry, what? So Lemmings was one of those games that I never owned. Lemmings original Lemmings. I think it was like Amiga, Commodore Amiga sort of area, and I never owned it because I never had an Amiga. I had a Commodore 64, and I don't think it was on there. I'm probably talking shit at this point in time. Anyway, I never owned Lemmings originally, but friends did, and I used to play it with friends at their houses. I really liked it. It was a really good concept. Lemmings, they'll just keep going, and you have to sort of change the direction and get them to the goal and all this. So, the other day, I'm sat and on my phone, I was like, what's this? I presume like Facebook or Instagram or something, telling me that you can download Lemmings for your phone and it's free. And I was like, hell yeah, let's get this on the go. So it's a little bit more basic than it ever was back in the 80s, early 90s, whatever. Because it's on your phone, so it's like you tap and then you select what you want to do in a box sort of thing. But that's been fun having a go on that. Again, all it's designed for is to make money. So there's just, here, give us money for this, here, give us money for that. If you can navigate around that stuff, Lemmings is there. You can have a few goes on it before your energy runs out and you have to replenish your energy by not playing the game that they've invented for you to play. Yeah. Oh no, that's right. Give them some money and then you can keep playing. That was the one. Yeah. But if you're a fan of Lemmings, you can download it for mobiles. I presume all mobiles. I know that you can get it for the iPhone. Let's put it that way. Two things left. One, I already know how petty I sound, but it's something that I did make a note of. So I'll tell you what it is. You can then call me petty afterwards, even though I know it's petty. I'm going to have a drink real quick. 2 seconds. Literally the hardest thing is podcasting on your own. When do you take a drink? So, Monday morning, lying in bed, and then Lan's like, that's the bin, man. I haven't put the bin out. So she like shoots off. I'm like, what? I could have done it. She ran off. She came back. Obviously got the bin out in time for the bin men to collect the bin. About 20 minutes, half an hour later, I'm ready to leave the house. I go outside, go to put my bag in the car, and I'm looking down the drive like, you motherfuckers. So, this is one of those things that I say, like I say, I already know how petty this sounds, so just be aware of that. I looked down at the end of the drive, and the bin men had left the bin smack in the centre of the end of the drive. Oh, the horror, the first world problems. However, all I could see was, really? You couldn't have put it off to the side? You couldn't have taken the time to go, there's 2 cars on that drive, maybe this person hasn't gone to work. You're like, yeah, I'll just put the bin there. Or is it, yeah, you've got 9,000 bins to empty and you haven't got the time to precisely put that bin somewhere? Or have you gone, I couldn't give 2 shits? The reason this annoyed me is that this isn't the first time there's been an issue. And I'm not saying, oh, they left the bin in a hedge, or oh, they left the bin sideways, or because at the end of the day, I walked down to the end of the drive, I got the bin, I wheeled the bin back to the house. Here's a little known fact. If I ever handle the bin, I like to wash my hands afterwards. So at this part, I'm like, right, well, I either get in the car and drive off home and not wash my hands, or I go back in the house and wash my hands. All at this point in time, it's Monday morning and I'm trying to get to work. Any of you that know what that's like knows how much of a annoyance something that stops that is. Traffic or whatever it is that stops you getting to work at a point in time that, quite frankly, you don't really want to have to go to work. It's just a little bit too much. It just pushes you over the edge. People not indicating on the way to work. Things like that. So I'm like, right, I'll move the bin. However, I immediately flash back to a couple of weeks ago where, no surprises, it's Monday morning, I'm trying to go to work, and the bin lorry is coming down the street. Now, our street is a bit curvy and windy. It's not the longest street, it's just a bit curvy and windy. It's a cul-de-sac that sort of splits, it like forks at the bottom into 2 cul-de-sacs. Super windy, and at a certain point along the windy bit, it gets narrower because of the bend. So, Did the bin men in their very large bin lorry drive down the correct side of the street? Or did they drive down the middle of the road? So at this point in time, I'm pulling out of the drive, didn't realise that this was a situation, turned to go down the bendy bit to go off the end, to go off down the street, to go off the end of the road, to go down to work. Oh no, I can't do that because there's a massive lorry in the middle of the road. Again, presumably this is a situation that this makes their lives easier. Big lorry drives down the middle of the street, you've got bins to empty either side. Easier to bring the bin to the middle of the street than to one side or the other. I get it. Doesn't help me in the slightest to get past, to get to work. Next thing I'm like, well, you know, whichever way you slice it, they're actually in the wrong. Next thing the guy driving the truck's looking at me like I'm, for want of a better way of putting it, an absolute cunt for trying to go to work because my car is now quote unquote in the way. And I'm like, well, my car wouldn't be in the way if your truck wasn't in the middle of the street. Maybe think about that. I'm definitely sounding petty at this one, I think. I might be fighting a losing battle here. Anyway, it annoyed me. So, that was that. I'm not going to go into it anymore. I feel ridiculous bringing it up. These guys are trying to do a job, but then again, I was trying to go to work. Whatever. Leave it alone. Speaking of going to work, I want to talk about working conditions. So, years and years and years ago, I used to be very, critical of people, and I used to rant about this person, this, and that person, that, and that person. And as you can tell by this podcast, I just don't do that anymore. However, one of the things that I sort of did start doing was I stopped saying that person this and that person that and that person the other, because it wasn't helpful to me as a person, sort of psychologically, if you will. So if I saw, I'll give you an example. If I saw a really, really, really overweight person, more overweight than me, so that's quite overweight, in the street, and I'm like, oh man, you know, look at that person's really big. I would then find it difficult now to relay that to someone else, because I would feel sorry for that person, and I wouldn't want to do unto others as you would have done to you. I won't want somebody talking about me. Oh, I saw a really fat guy in the street today. So I would try and do the same, I suppose. If I saw somebody like that, and even if there was a situation, I'd try not to relay it. Bearing that in mind, I'm at work yesterday, and I got to thinking about certain situations where people shouldn't be at work. And I'm sure it's not a massive surprise. If you are sick, you shouldn't be at work. So what I mean by this is, if you've got a cold and you're a bit snotty and a bit sniffly and a bit feel grim, that's one thing. You can probably go to work. However, if you've got an absolute monster cold, you have to blow your nose every 5 seconds. You have to clear your throat and clear your nose every few seconds. You're coughing, you're spluttering. You are not only very unwell, obviously probably quite contagious. You should not be at work. I've said this for many years. I've said this to many people, usually people who have made me very sick. The phrase of, you shouldn't be here, go home, to then have that person, oh no, I'm fine, I'll stick it out till lunchtime, no, just go home. And I think in the culture that we're in now, like, I work in an office, as people might know, people might not. I work in an office. Our department has laptops. I truly believe if you turn up at work and you're like, man, this cold is kicking my ass. If I'm honest, if it was just up to me, I'd stay and I'd work the day. But I really don't want to make someone sick. The answer should be, grab a laptop and go home. Get yourself off home. If you feel you can still work, great. We can get something out of you. That's fine. If you don't feel you're able to work, take a sick day. If you feel you're able to do something, but you feel contagious, take a laptop, go home and work from there. That is my opinion. And I think that it should be something that's enforced, because those people that come to work when they're sick, they're going to take down multiple other people. So in actual fact, them coming to work is detriment. And I've heard people say, oh, I didn't go into work because I was feeling rough and I didn't want to make other people sick. That's the right thing to do. Versus, oh man, I was feeling absolutely like I was dying. I mean, I went to work, but you know, oh yeah, that's great. Because the 5 people that sit in your vicinity, they're going to be sick and they're going to be off for a week. So how is you going to work for one day feeling like death of benefit to anybody, that company, the people around you, or anything? And I say this knowing full well that I've been in that situation. I've been talking to people, you shouldn't be here, you're sick, go home, why are you here, what are you doing? 2 days later, I'm like, I'm sick. And you get it worse. You always get it worse, because that person is like patient zero. It's like they're the carrier, and then that germs, whatever, mutate when they give it to you. And you go into a building that's air conditioned, and in winter they pump heat in with those germs because the germs are circulated. In summer they pump air conditioning in with those germs. You are going to get sick. Something I do want to add to this, besides all of that, do you honestly believe that if you are blowing your nose, clearing your throat, and making those sorts of sounds, that the people around you want to be subjected to that? Because that's another thing. If you're like, I'm dying, I feel constantly, how is that helping anyone either? So, as of now, hashtag stay at home if you're sick. Let's start it, let's make it a thing, people. Come on. Cookie for President 2020 or whatever, whenever it is they're going to vote and put Trump back in office. So yeah, interestingly enough, right now, I feel like I've got a little bit of a sore throat. Could just need another drink. But all I'm saying, people, is if you're sick, or if somebody else is sick, tell them to go home. Tell them to take the day off. Do whatever. We need to get away from this culture of, oh, I'm sick, but I can't take the day off. Bullshit. You're sick, take the day off, rest and recoup, come back stronger, able to do more, and don't take people down with you. Simple. And on that note, I'm going to leave it there, because that's my list done for the week. I can burn it, fire it into the sun, do whatever. So yeah, as I've said the last few times, hopefully tune in next week for another one of these. If I'm honest, I imagine that these will be interspliced with the BS cast, whilst ever that's still going. We are going to go through a shift here at Cookiecast. As by the time you hear this, the football podcast will be long gone. The idea is that we're going to move to Moviecast. Whether that has happened, you will be able to tell me better by this point in time. Fingers crossed. But yeah, stay tuned for the next podcast, whatever that is. And hopefully, as each week goes on, I will have content to keep doing this one, the Darkest Timeline podcast. Until next time, I'm going to say goodbye, which I imagine in a few seconds I'll be telling you that again when I top and tail this bad boy. So yeah, until then, I'll see you then, and I'll say goodbye. So there we go then. What do you think to that? Another one in the bag. Another one done. Another one of me talking to myself. And you guys. YouTube watchers. Make sure you're YouTube subscribers. Everybody jump over to thecookiecast.com. And social media lovers over there. Emailers. All the good stuff. So yeah. There we go. Another one done. Another one in the bag. And another week gone. So, yeah, thank you for joining me. And until next time, I'll say goodbye.